So what we're trying to slowly do with whole-based communication is think about how we're going to use this knowledge of how our brain works to actually bring about social change. So let's look at fear and hope today in our communication. So right now, what we know, there's a lot of forces out there that are really, really scarily effective at spreading fear and hate online, right? The foreigners, outsiders, they're dangerous. Okay. The problem is a lot of activism and politics that's trying to actually build more togetherness, and the news is also feeding fear. And a lot of it is motivated with a good, with good intentions. People need to know there's a crisis. We need to have a sense of urgency to deal with it. But the problem is, if we only create powerlessness and more fear, you can't fight fear with fear. The way to fight populism, the way to fight fear is to offer an alternative. So actually, a lot of the time we are showing that we're feeding the same narrative. There is a crisis, but people are more likely to turn to the solution of populism. So in the case of migration, for example, we're both saying there's fear, but we're both feeding the same language, the same narrative, the way of thinking about this issue, which is waves of foreign people are coming. So you can see this story on the right is neutral news reporting, but it uses the word wave. This is the New York Times, but it's using language that calls to mind, puts a picture in people's head associated with right-wing propaganda. So narrative is always there, even if we're not conscious of it. And so what we do when we think of narrative strategy is we're trying to make conscious what is actually unconscious in our minds.